Hey everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Today is cheater needles. Now, they're called cheater needles as a slang term. And it's so funny because when I first started looking at these, I actually typed in cheater needles, and they do come up like in Amazon and different places, but they're actually self-threading needles. And since I've started using this, I have found some variations. I don't have any of them, but I'll talk about them when I get a little bit closer. But you know, I don't know about you guys, but seeing that tiny hole, I typically use a threader, an old-fashioned, old-school threader. When I bring you in closer, I'll talk a little bit more about it. And it's not a bad gig, but I still got to find the hole. So I decided to try out a cheater needle. Now I'm going to throw a picture up here, and it'll make it so you can see it a little better than this far, because I know y'all can't see this. And I'm going to bring you in closer to show you how to use it, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit about the pros, because there are a lot of pros. And then I did find some negatives, some cons. So pros and cons coming after. But let's go ahead and get started. Let me pull you in closer and let me show you how to use a self-threading needle for your hand stitching. Okay, so I got some thread here, and I tried to make it dark enough so that you could see what I'm going to try and attempt to stitch, and then I'm going to show you how to thread this. But I wanted to talk about these old-fashioned threaders. Some people call them old school, but they're just a piece of aluminum, and I literally have hundreds of these. This is one of 2 packs. And generally speaking, what I would do is I would take my threader, and it's got this metal part to it, and you just try and stick it through the hole, and there we go. And once it is through the hole, you have a larger eye to thread. Pull a pair of snips out here. So at that point, what you would do is you would take your thread and go through that larger hole, okay, and pull it through the eye. And then your needle is so conveniently threaded. And at that point, you could put your knot at the end and do your hand stitching or bury your threads. Now it's a really interesting thing when you're burying a thread and you've got your needle in here and you're putting this through, okay? So I've always looked for other methods to try to do this a little easier. So I'm going to take the same piece of thread, and I'm going to get a cheater needle. Oh, and the other thing about this particular threader, it has, oh, you can't see, there we go. It has where it is got the little metal things that go through the eye. They're in here. So sometimes they'll come undone, and then it doesn't do you any good. And sometimes this little piece here gets really, really thin, and you're not really having a bigger hole to work with, okay? Because it is just cheap metal or inexpensive metal or flexible metal, however you want to look at it. So I'm going to take one of these self-threading needles, or these cheater needles, and basically what you do, and I will try my best to throw up a picture, yeah, because I can't get that to show. I'll see if I can get a really good picture. But on the top, there are these 2 prongs, okay? And inside, there's actually a little notch in one of the prongs, or maybe both. I don't know. I can't see that close. But you're basically going to take your thread, and you're going to go through the prongs, and it won't come out because of the little notches. They help prevent it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your thread, get it nice and taut. Now you do have to make sure that it's the prongs are open for you. So you have to be aware of which way the needle is, and I like it so that the eye is facing up. I can't see the eye, but I can see that there is an eye. And then basically you're going to take your fabric, yeah. You're going to take your thread and you're just going to pull it through that little notch at the top. And look, guys, and you'll feel it snap. It holds it, okay? Now, just like an eye, you can move the thread through it because it is an eye. It just has an opening to allow you to get the thread through it. So let's just test this out on a piece of fabric. So I'm going to put a quilter's knot in here. I'm going to do hopefully a thick one. Yep, I did. All right. So I'm going to go through this fabric. So let's just say we are hand stitching away. Now I am not a very good person about running stitches, so I'm not even going to pretend. But look, it's still connected. Okay, so you can sit here and it won't come out per se. See, it's still there. It's still here. It's a genius. It's an absolute genius. So we'll do that one more time. I'm going to pull this back out. I'm going to pull it all the way out. Use the same thread here. Oh, I made a mess of things. So now I've got, oh, there we go. I was going to say, now I got a knot. Okay. So you're just basically holding it. What if I did it on black? Nope, that isn't going to work. Okay. So you're basically holding it. And you take your thread and you just snip it in there. And it's threaded and it's ready to go. And now you can be doing either bearing of threads. Now I will say, if you're bearing threads, you're going to need to put the 2 loops in there. You're going to have to put 2 pieces of thread through it. So let's do that real quick. I did learn that I wasn't very good at putting 2 pieces of thread in at the same time. It just doesn't work. I'll try it here so y'all can see how much watch it work. But generally speaking, when you're bearing threads, you got 2 threads. Oh, it did work this time. Very interesting. But what I ended up having to do a lot is putting through 1 thread, grabbing the second one, putting the second one through that little notch, and then I had both strands in the eye and I could bury them. So just a little heads up. It's actually pretty convenient, right? I mean, here, we'll do this just for grin. Don't even laugh, guys. Look, these aren't my thread snippers normally that I use, but I'm going to make that a clean cut. I'm going to grab my regular needle. Now I'm not even looking at the needle eye because I totally cannot see it, so I've turned it sideways. Yeah. This is not going to happen, guys. No. I can't see, and then I don't know about y'all, but arthritis has kicked in and not every day I can feel real well. Oh, we got something. I actually got it threaded. But it's not easy when all I had to do was take my self-threading needle and there it went. Just like that. And it stays. So that's how you use a self-threading needle or a cheater needle. whether you're doing hand stitching, hand quilting, or bearing threads, you can actually use this self-threading needle. Now, you did see that I talk about on this particular needle, the prongs are at the top. There's 2 prongs, and you got to put the thread between it. Since I really started to investigate these things, I have found that they have one that the slit is on the side of the needle. And you just simply take your thread and go up the side of it, and it catches it. And it has a little spiral in it, so it doesn't come undone. So there are 2 ways, or 2 different cheater needles that I found, but this is the one that I have with the prongs at the top, and you slip it through at the very top. So I'm going to come back at you because I'm going to talk about a little bit of different pros and cons with this cheater needle. So let's talk about pros and cons. Now I'm going to start with the cons because I like to leave on a positive note. One of the things that I find as a disadvantage is that the ends where the prongs are is really, really sharp. So when you're going through, like if you're bearing threads through several seams and it gets a little difficult to push through, I am not one to use a thimble. Typically, I don't like them. I don't find them functional for me, but I have to use one at certain times, and I will pull it out just in case because those edges are super sharp. And because they are sharp, sometimes you'll find that it can shred some threads. What I experienced, it wasn't a type of thread for me. What really was during that learning process of getting those prongs lined up along with the thread. And, you know, if you didn't have them in there and you're trying to force it through, the more you're pushing against that sharp edge, it will shred your thread, right? And I'm sure if your thread was a weaker thread or, you know, something was already going on with it, it could easily shred it because it is sharp. So that is another disadvantage. And it, you know, when you're learning to get it through that slot, it's very important that you are getting it through that slot, because if you don't, it will come unthreaded. Now, I've also been told, I haven't experienced it yet, but if you put enough pressure on it, it will come unthreaded. And I'm sure it will shred your thread at that point too, because like I said, it's very, very sharp in there. But you do have to learn to get it through that slot. And you'll either feel it snap or you'll hear it pop, and you'll get more and more used to it. In my experience, it was definitely a learning curve. But once you get the hang of it, it's not hard at all. But it's important, so that it will come immediately unthreaded if in fact you don't get it in that slot. Now, I found it interesting that on the back of the label, it does say not to slip it down into the second eye below. I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know. I can't see it that close to see if there's another little slit, but they do say not to slip it down into the second eye. So then the next question became, why is there a second eye? And the only thing that I've been able to find so far is that you can actually thread these needles through that bottom eye like a normal needle. Now, I don't know why one would do that if you had a self-threader, but you can apparently do that with that first eye. But I also wanted to warn you, don't go too hard, I guess, and too much and get that thread slip down into that bottom eye. I'll throw a picture just in case. The first time the picture should have shown it, but if it didn't, I'll make sure to throw another one here. Anyway, you can actually see that there are 2 eyes, okay? So I thought that was really, really interesting. But those are the major disadvantages. And, you know, if you have problems feeling, or, you know, if you've got diabetic neuropathy or any other kind of thing where your sensation is different, it is a learning process with getting those prongs lined up just right so that it's very easy to push that thread through those prongs. So I just want to make that aware. Now, the pros, it's fast. I mean, y'all saw how fast it was. It is fast. It's very convenient to, and it's not hard to use, and it's not expensive, and it's readily available. They're very easy to find. I think I paid $5.12 for the one that I have, which is made by Clover. I found it on Amazon. So $5.12, and it gave me 5 of them. So they are very inexpensive and easy to find. It'll be just a little while before I am going to carry these in my shop. But until then, I've put them on my favorite Amazon page that I have on my website, and I'll put the link down below. Now, I will tell you, I make pennies, especially on $5.12, if you do use that link. But it makes it easy for you to find. But the price is not any different either for you. So if you were to go out and find it on your own versus using a link, that goes for anybody who has these links out there for you to make things easy for you to find. Yes, everybody makes pennies, but the price does not, it's not any higher than if you were just to go out on your own. So you're not losing anything by using anybody's Amazon links. Just a little FYI. But so I will put that there, and you'll be able to grab it. But those are my pros and cons, guys. And I'm telling you, I hope there's some people that never heard of these. And there are some people that have heard of them and they didn't know what they were about. So I hope that this really clarified some things for you. But if you have any questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to drop them down below in the comment section. I promise to get back to you. Or you can come out today. I will be there live on Facebook at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to answer any questions that you may have. And I actually have a little idea spewing in my head right now, and I want to make sure that I have it all ready. I'm going to share a little extra something on Facebook Live today, so I hope that I can see you all there. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know, guys. It's a great product. It really, truly is. Once you get through that learning process, and maybe it'll be easier for you than it is for me. So, I mean, bonus there, right? But next week we are going, it's one of the Christmas, videos. Like I said, I'll do 1 or 2 a month, starting from the last one up until December. Just a few ideas. They're not all ornaments. So, that is next week. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. But until next week, or until 3 p.m. today, Eastern Daylight Time on Facebook, I hope and I pray every day that you will be continuing to be inspired, productive, and joyful, and never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. I love y'all. Thanks for all stopping by. See you soon. Happy quilting.